is William Imandt, President of the Court Officers Benevolent Association of Nassau County. Welcome.
Good evening, Senators.
Good evening.
Well into the
evening.
evening.
And Assembly members.
I wanted to be noted that I know that you've all been here since 9:30 this morning. We're going on close to 12 hours, so we do appreciate your dedication to this, and thank you for letting me speak.
We're trying
again.
for a record this year.
I'm sorry?
We're trying for a record this year.
Okay, well, I hope you don't reach it, because I know that means you're here even longer. I want to again thank you for letting me speak. I'm the president of CoBank, the Court Officers Benevolent Association of Nassau County, representing about 80% of the court workers in Nassau County. And I'd like to, this is my third time speaking, and I'm so happy that I'm not speaking about a contract this time. We do have a collective bargaining agreement. So I do want to speak about three main issues. And basically what I want to ask you is to keep an eye on how the Office of Court Administration spends the money that they're allocated for their budget. Senator Savino brought up, and I'm going to put it in my terms, that I'm glad that Judge Marks had the chutzpah to ask for more money than the 2%, and I think everybody knows that's in the court system that we actually need more, but that you're going to give him what he asked for, and that's what he asked for, so I appreciate that. My three topics are security, staffing, and out-of-title work. Security in Nassau County and CoBank is down 15% from 2010. We had 301 court officers then. We now have 257. That's a big, big hit for all the hard work that they do. In the district court and the Supreme Court, the information desks and what we call the tubs are sporadically staffed with personnel. And anybody that works in the court system knows that problems usually happen in the hallway. It's not in the courtroom when they're on their best behavior, and it's typically not at the magnetometers. It's in the hallway. So that's one place where we're lacking staffing that I appreciate if you could keep an eye and speak to Judge Marks and Judge DeFiore about that. We have a mobile security patrol that is, we have 3 cars in Nassau County. We now have 2. About a month ago, there was a individual at a stoplight who was passed out, and one of our officers in the MSP unit was flagged down, and they were apparently having a heroin overdose. They administered Narcan, and they recovered. The ambulance came, brought them to the hospital. So these officers most likely saved somebody's life. Well, we have 2 now where we had 3. The family court in Nassau County is so isolated from the rest of the court complex. That's where the MSP car was is now no longer patrolling. And I just wonder what would happen if that person had that seizure or whatever it was in the family court, and there was no one there to administer the Narcan. We have roving sergeants instead of sergeants in each criminal part, which we should have. They rove the back hallway, and they look in and check in to see how things are going in the courtroom, and that's certainly a Band-Aid. That's not fixing the problem. Our magnetometers, we used to have 3 and 4 officers on it. We now have 2. Now, Judge DeFiore's excellent initiative, but they wanted a better experience for people in the court, quicker trials, quicker adjourn dates and things. And now with the magnetometers down to 2, you go to any court facility in Nassau County, and I'm sure mostly around the state, or at least the metropolitan area, the lines are long and wrapping around the building because there's only 2 officers instead of 3 or 4. So that's another the security issue that I really think should be brought to your attention. In the staffing category, we have, I want to bring to your attention that CoBank had 955 members in 2010, and now we have 770. I note that is about an $18 million less responsibility for the staffing in just Nassau County. And I estimate there's about $200 million, counting the salary and benefits, that the state, less that the Office of Court Administration has to pay out. And I'm just really wondering how, if we had the Civil Legal Service Program that started at $15 million, went to $100 million, okay, that's a very worthy program. I know you're all in support of it, and so are we. However, with the governor throwing around billions of dollars for bridges to Connecticut and things, 1/10 of one of those billions would have funded that civil legal services and left that money in the courts where we wouldn't be in such a poor condition and just barely getting by. Okay, the last issue I want to bring up is the out-of-title work. Now, when we had a 15% reduction in our staffing, that left 85% of the people to do the rest of the work. That has now caused a lot of our staff, and in particular our court clerks, to take on responsibilities of job titles that are higher than they're paid, 2 to 4 grades higher. And they've been doing it for 5-6 years, and we've had meetings with Judge Marks to address the court clerk issue. We're having another one coming up at the end of February, and I certainly hope that at this point, that with the savings of the salaries being less that they have to pay out, and the fact that our workers are covering covering the gap, I guess is a good way to put it, that we'll get some good news on that court clerk reassignment or reallocation. One other thing I want to bring up is we have in the Commissioner of Jurors in Nassau County a grade 12 clerk who's training grade 21s around the state at half the salary that the grade 21s make. And these are the type of things that happen when you're trying to get by with chewing gum and Band-Aids just to get by. And this is the situation that we've been living with. Again, Judge Marks thankfully asked for more than the 2%, and that should help. But I just want to ask the committee members if you could just stay in touch with Judge Marks and stay in touch with Judge DiFiore throughout the year, and ask them how's the staffing going, how's the security issues, how's the court clerk situation going on, and just please keep an eye on it, because if you only meet once a year and talk about summaries, it's very easy to talk about what you only want to talk about in a summary, and if you don't ask the right questions, they're not going to be volunteered. So I would appreciate it, again, if you would stay in touch with Judge Marks, Judge DiFiore. You can certainly always call me and let us know, and ask them how's it going, and are you meeting your goals that you strive to meet. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you. Senator Savino.
Thank you, Billy. I want to thank you. I think you were one of the first people here this morning, and all of you who are here for the whole day. I appreciate it. I just have one question, because you said you have a lot of members who are working out of title. Do
Yes.
you have out of title language in your contract?
We do have out-of-title language in our contract. There's the grievance procedure,
Right.
which we understand the fiscal restraints, so we've been trying to work with Judge Marks and our local administrators. But we do have, we had one grievance, the one I just referred to, the grade 12 training the grade 21s that had the salary. We lost that grievance. It was fairly ridiculous that we lost that grievance. So now we have a lawsuit pending on that. The talks with Judge Marks, I hope they're going to be fruitful. If they're not, then there will be a lot of out-of-title grievances filed.
I would suggest that should be something that you should all pursue. If you have contract language that protects workers, your members from doing out-of-title work for a specified period of time, they need to file those claims, because that's the only way to get the court. If the OCA winds up having to pay out several of these out-of-title cases in large sums of money, they'll be forced to do something. If people volunteer for work, guess what happens when they volunteer? They don't get paid. So I would just encourage you.
Well, we took the one that we
encourage you to
thought.
tell your members to do so.
The one that was the most egregious, we thought, was that grade 12
Right.
reference that I made, and we just said, okay, we're going to file this one, and we lost that. We couldn't believe we lost it. So again, it's going through the court system now. But
It could be a particular case, but if it's a practice of OCA to continuously assign workers, or your workers, or any of the workers, to do work that's not within their title, and there's out-of-title language, and it's a higher title, then they should be pursuing out-of-title grievances to protect their right to be paid back to the date of the assignment.
Well, if the talks don't become fruitful, then we certainly will.
Okay?
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks. Bye.
Any other questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with